गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is chapter 18. Text number beginning text number 30. Pravritim cha nivritim cha
Pravritim cha nivritim cha
karya karye baya baye
Karya karye baya baye
bandham moksham cha yaveti
Manam moksham chaya veti
buddhi sa partha sattviki. Translation. I'll read the word meaning. Pravitim, doing, cha, also, nivritim, not doing, cha, and karya, what ought to be done, akarye, and what ought not to be done, baya, fear, abaye, and fearlessness, bandham, bondage, moksham, liberation, cha, and ya, that which, veti, knows, buddhi, understanding, sa, that, Bhakta, Osanaprita, Sattviki, in the mode of goodness. Translation. Osanaprita, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Performing actions in terms of the directions of the scriptures is called pavriti, or executing actions that deserve to be performed. And actions which are not so directed are not to be performed. One who does not know the scriptural directions becomes entangled in the actions and reactions of work, understanding which discriminates by intelligence is situated in the mode of goodness. Om Jnanatimurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatra Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Nitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation again. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. And Srila Prabhupada uses the word understanding. The word in Sanskrit is buddhi. Generally we use the word intelligence. And later on, Prabhupada also changes from using understanding. Later on, talks about intelligence. So we can understand it either way. Similar meaning, understanding and intelligence. Intelligence is something we're a bit more familiar with. Certainly in the chariot of the mind, chariot of the body, we talk about the intelligence as being the driver. The mind is the reins, the horses are the senses, the body is the passenger, the chariot, the chariot is the body, the passenger is the soul. And this way, intelligence is the driver. So, intelligence is the power to discriminate for the mind. Our mind has desires, but we have to use intelligence to understand what desires are actually proper and what is not. And this way Prabhupada also in the purport talks that intelligence is to understand based on the direction of the scripture what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. Right? Pavritim cha, nivritim cha, janana vadur asura. Those who are asuras, those who are demoniac, they don't know what should be done and what should not be done. They don't have the intelligence to understand. We have to cultivate that good intelligence. People often come to Krishna consciousness, and in the beginning they will say, I didn't know. I didn't know it was wrong to eat meat. I didn't know it was wrong to have an abortion. Narayani was talking this morning about how more children are aborted than take birth these days. And people, common people, they don't know. They often say that. They didn't know. Of course, it's the duty of everyone to find out, to know what to do and what we shouldn't do. We cannot just simply plead ignorance. You go to the court of law, you know, if you're arrested and taken to the court of law, and you tell the judge, I didn't know. The judge, he doesn't care. It's your duty to find out. You know, you're living in a country, you have to follow the laws. And similarly, we've been given a human body, we have a duty, we have a responsibility to know what things we can do and what things we cannot do. It's very important for us to have that kind of intelligence. And we get that intelligence, of course, even we didn't have it, we can get that intelligence by hearing, by reading books like Bhagavad Gita. And that's why in our Krishna consciousness movement, we give so much importance to book distribution. We could live very comfortably on our own, just simply here, but we care about other people. We have compassion, and we go out of our way to try to meet people and to distribute literature to them, just for the sake of giving them some good intelligence. Srila Prabhupada was asked one time why the Krishna consciousness movement attracted so many young people. In the USA, when Prabhupada began the movement, at that time, most of the followers were all in their 20s, some were teenagers, very few were over 30. That was the Krishna consciousness movement in Prabhupada's time. And the reporters were puzzled by this. And they asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, how is it you are attracting so many young people? And Srila Prabhupada replied to them, he said, because young youth, that is the time for education. And Prabhupada was very clear that the purpose of our Krishna consciousness movement is to educate people, to give them a good understanding about what we should do and what we cannot do. It's very important for us. Of course, different people have their different ideas about what you can do and what you cannot do. In one country, you drive on the left side of the road. Another country you drive on the right side of the road. You know, there's different laws in different countries. The laws change from place to place. Some countries, people have freedom of religion. And some countries, people don't have any freedom. They're not allowed. They're not encouraged to be religious. It's the law. But we're not so much concerned, you know, that there was one devotee, his name was Vishnu Jana Swami. Did you hear the name? Vishnu Jana Swami, very famous in Prabhupada's time. He was a wonderful sannyasi, and he did wonderful kirtan. He had some musical talent. He could play the harmonium very nicely, and he could sing nicely. So, but he was traveling in the USA, but sometimes, you know, he wouldn't care about road lights and road signs. And the devotee would say, "Hey, Vishnu Jan, you went through the red light." And he'd say, "Oh, we are not under the laws of Kamsa." You know, that was his mood, you know, that we're not under the laws of Kamsa. So, you know, it's a very liberal kind of mood that, you know, you have to be careful about that. It can get you into trouble. You know, we have to have some respect for the laws. And generally, Prabhupada also was respectful for the different considerations. One time, Srila Prabhupada was on the morning walk in London, and Prabhupada liked to use eucalyptus twigs as a toothbrush. You know, in India, sometimes the people will use a twig, and they get the eucalyptus twig. Eucalyptus is very antiseptic. It's very good for purifying the gums. It strengthens the teeth and the gums. So Prabhupada saw a eucalyptus tree, and he asked the devotee, "Can you get me a twig from the tree, you know?" So one devotee, you know, he takes a twig off the tree, but, you know, it was in the park in London, and the policeman came, you know, the policemen, you know, they're always on watching, looking for people, and the policeman saw the devotee take a twig off the tree, comes over and me, "What are you doing? This is a government property. You cannot break the twig off that tree." You know, he really chastised it. He didn't arrest him, but you know, he really chastised him, warned him that you cannot do this. It's not proper. And you know, Prabhupada was watching, and Prabhupada afterwards, after the policeman went away, Prabhupada said, he said, "We have taken one twig." He said, "But this British government, they took so many jewels from India." He said, the Queen's crown is full of jewels from India. We have taken one little twig from their tree and they're complaining. This is the situation, Kali Yuga, you see. Anyway, Lord Krishna is saying we have to develop this intelligence to know what we can do and what we cannot do. And then what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. What is to be feared? As devotees, of course, we are fearful. Material life, everyone is fearful. Even the higher planets, the demigods are also fearful. So fear is part of material life. Material life means eating and sleeping, mating and fearing. We live in fear of different things. We have to know, however, what to fear and what not to fear. You see, as devotees, we are fearful about breaking regulated principles, going against the scriptures. That is something which a devotee is very conscious about. We don't want to do anything which will go against the religious principles. We want to be careful to avoid that. And we're very fearful about offending a Vaishnava as well. We don't want to do anything which will offend a Vaishnava. What is not to be feared? Well, we don't fear waking up early in the morning. We don't fear coming to Mongol Arti. We don't fear taking part in kirtan. These kind of things. And some people fear them. Sometimes, I know sometimes I was in the temple in Hong Kong, and we had a group came from Chinese school. They came to attend our temple. They were looking at different temples and things in Hong Kong, and a group of them had come to our temple there in Hong Kong to see how we practice. And they performed arti, and at one point, they sprinkled water on everyone's head, but they didn't want a little drop of water on their head, They were afraid of a few drops of water. And some people are afraid of prasadam, that, I don't want to eat any food here, they worry, maybe I'll get poisoned, or maybe they'll brainwash me or something. People have sometimes a fear like that, that maybe they'll program me. People worry like that. They have a fear. Of course, we don't need to fear these things. Rather, we need to fear not having these things. We fear the contamination of mundane music and the mundane sound vibrations. We fear that. So we have to know what to fear, what is not to fear, and what is binding and what is liberating. Certain things are binding. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains, Yatnartha karmanam yatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadatam karma konteya mukta sangat samachara. Lord Krishna is explaining what is binding and what is liberating. He said, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, that work binds you to the material world. So what is binding? Binding, we become bound when we're not working for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. We become bound to the material world. We get reactions. The binding comes through the modes of nature. The modes of nature are called gunas, and there are 3 gunas. Of course, 2 of them are very well known, Rajaguna and Tamaguna. But there's also a 3rd guna, Sattva guna. But anyway, guna means ropes. They're binding, and we're bound to this material world by acting independently of the Lord. When we do work which is not dedicated for the pleasure of the Lord, then we become entangled, we become bound into the material world by these different modes. Sattva gun is not so bad, but Rajagun and Tamagun are very bad, and they're very prominent. The Rajagun, which is very prominent in this world, it degrades to Tamagun. We start off in Rajagun, but quickly we go down into Tamagun, into ignorance. And in the mode of ignorance, then we forget everything about the purpose of life. And we are destined to take birth in the lower species of life. We will lose the opportunity of the human birth. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very conscious. We have a very good opportunity in the human form of life. The human form of life is not meant for living like animals. But if we live like an animal, then next life we will become the animal. That is the law of karma. We're preparing ourselves for the next body by the way in which we live in this life. If we are living simply for eating and sleeping, then we do not, what will be our destiny in the next life? We don't need the human body for that. Human life is meant for thoughtfulness. We're meant to develop this intelligence to understand what is proper and what is not. That's very important, very crucial for us. Having the human form of life and not developing any good intelligence. Now, sometimes, of course, in material life, they talk about IQ, intelligence quota. But we're not talking about intelligence quota, but that is mundane, material intelligence. But we're talking about spiritual intelligence. Intelligence begins by understanding, first of all, who you are. We have to understand our identity as a spiritual being, as a spirit soul. It's very, very important for us. So this intelligence, it actually comes from the soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains, senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. The mind directs the senses, right? Our mind desires and our senses act according to the direction of the mind. And then, higher than the mind is intelligence. Intelligence gives some guidance to the mind. Tells the mind, oh, don't do that. No, that's not good. Don't do that. You've been told before you shouldn't do it. The mind, intelligence tells you, don't eat too much. You've already eaten a lot. Don't eat any more gulab jamuns. You've already eaten 6 gulab jamuns. Don't have any more. Right? Intelligence will direct us in some ways. It's important for us. And higher than intelligence is the soul. The soul is seated next to the intelligence. So the soul actually gives direction to the intelligence. So we have to cultivate this awareness of ourselves as a spiritual entity, that we're all spirit souls living in the material body. And we have a gross physical body, and you have also a subtle body. This subtle body is the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. We have to understand the intelligence is there. Intelligence can also be contaminated, however. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes how lust is the all-devouring sinful enemy. And lust is situated in the senses, in the mind, and in the intelligence. It can be also our intelligence, our understanding can also be covered by this lust, this desire to enjoy material sense gratification. And material sense gratification binds us to the material world. The more we engage in sense gratification, the more we prepare for the next body, for the next birth. We have to take another birth in the material world. We've already taken many births, and we will take another one unless we conquer over this lust. We have to develop good intelligence. We have to purify ourselves, develop the good understanding which comes about. And we get that when you start to chant Hare Krishna mantra. If you simply take to the chanting of the holy names, you can purify your consciousness, you can develop the good intelligence. It is not difficult. You don't have to become a big scholar, you don't have to read a lot of books. Certainly, if you read Bhagavad Gita, it will help you. But what is most important in this age is the chanting of the holy names. You have to chant the Maha Mantra. And if you will take to this chanting, then it will help you to develop that good intelligence, to know what to do and what not to do, to know what to fear and what not to fear, to know what is binding and what is liberating. We don't want to be bound in the material world. We want freedom. We want to be liberated. We have to know how to get liberated. And we get that direction when you start to chant the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra is the sure means to liberate ourselves from material consciousness. And it doesn't take very much time. Very quickly you can feel the effect of the chanting of the holy names. So we encourage everyone to take to this chanting, just like we're doing here in this temple every day, morning and evening. There's chanting. At this time, we have a group of youth people here, more than 40, about 47, isn't it? No, a number of youth, more than 40.
Close to 60.
Huh?
Close to 60.
60. Oh, okay. So we have a good number of youth here, nearly 60 people from different countries in Scandinavia, and they're all taking part in chanting the holy name and hearing about Krishna. They're eating the sanctified foodstuffs, and they're all very happy, joyful. They're taking pleasure in these activities. It's not a dry process. Rather, it's pleasure to take part in the process of bhakti yoga. It's joyful. We awaken our spiritual nature. The nature of the soul is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. When we are in the bodily consciousness, in material consciousness, we will be miserable, we will be ignorant, we will be suffering. That is the nature of material life. But spiritual life is joyful. Every day, chanting and dancing, chanting and awakening our spiritual consciousness. So Lord Krishna is directing us, we want to come to the mode of goodness, and we want to cultivate that mode of goodness, get free from passion and ignorance. So it's very important for us to cultivate this consciousness. It's not difficult. Other processes are very difficult, but this process is very easy, and it's very sublime, joyful, very quick and effective, because it's Kali Yuga, and because we're very fallen souls, the Lord has given us a very easy process to make it very powerful and very effective for everyone, that we can get out of the ignorance of material life and come to the spiritual platform. So we'll ask if there's any questions or comments. Anyone? Okay, we will read what Lord Krishna has to say about the mode of passion and ignorance. The mode of passion, text 31. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam eva cha ayatavat prajanati buddhi saparta rajasi. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. So the mode of passion is being described. Cannot distinguish what is religion and what is irreligion. In the Kali Yuga, it is actually common phenomena that what is religion is actually irreligion. And what people think is irreligion, that is generally religion. People have a funny understanding about religion. They think, oh, my religion is Hindu, or my religion is Christian, or my religion is Buddhist, like that. There are different major, we say, religious faiths. But that faith, that is not real religion. For example, the word Hindu is not found in any Shastras. The word Hindu refers to people who live on the other side of the river Indus. And the people who lived on the other side of the river Indus, they were called Hindus. And this is where the word Hindu came from, but it's nowhere in any Shastra. It's not in the Vedas, it's not in the Puranas, it's just a modern connotation for people in a particular tract of land. And generally we find that people born in a particular place, they have that particular faith. If you're born in the Middle East, you may be a Muslim. If you're born in Israel, you may be a Jew. If you're born in somewhere like Thailand or Taiwan, you'd be a Buddhist. Everyone there is a Buddhist. Because they're born there. My religion is Buddhist. Do they know anything about the so-called religion? They don't know anything. Hardly they know anything. Do you ever go to temple? No, never go. But they say, my religion is Buddhism, my religion is Christian. Never go to church, never go to anything like, but still they identify with this is my religion. But they don't know anything, they don't follow anything. So this is the situation. This is not really religion. What is religion is to know the laws of God. We should know the laws of God. That is real religion. But irreligion, there's something else. You see, so we have to know these things. And then what action should be done and what should not be done. That should be done and that which should not be done. We don't know the difference. That's the mode of passion. And then text 32, the mode of ignorance. Adharmam dharmam itiya manyate tamasavrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhisa partha tamasi. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction is in the mode of ignorance or partha. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Intelligence in the mode of ignorance is always working the opposite of the way it should. It accepts religions which are not actually religions and rejects actual religion. Men in ignorance understand a great soul to be a common man and accept a common man as a great soul. They think truth to be untruth and accept untruth as truth. In all activities, they simply take the wrong path. Therefore, their intelligence is in the mode of ignorance. We want to understand how to develop the good intelligence. So it's very important to read Shastra, to read scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita, and to hear from people who practice spiritual life, genuine spiritual life. In any genuine spiritual process, then people will be following religious principles. The pillars of religion are four: Satyam, Socham, Daya, and Tapa. Satyam, truthfulness; Socham, cleanliness; Daya, mercy; and Tapa, austerity. So, people who are actually religious, they have to practice these principles. Every country in the world, they will agree, oh, cleanliness, very important. They will encourage you. But they have different understandings about cleanliness. Some people, they take a bath once a year. Some people, they take a bath only twice in their lifetime. I know some places where they have a bath twice they take a bath when they're born, and they take a bath the day they get married. Their whole life, they only bathe twice in their life. Can you imagine? This is the custom in some parts of the world. So cleanliness, and they think that's cleanliness. People, just to get people to wash their hands. Some people they'll go to the toilet, they'll never wash their hands or anything. So cleanliness, very important. Mercy, very important. What does it mean to be merciful? It means no meat. Don't kill the animals. People will say, I never killed anything. If you go to countries like Thailand, they have many Buddhist monks there. They will say, I never kill anything. They all eat meat. They're all meat eaters. They're Buddhist monks, but they're all meat eaters. They say, no. And Dalai Lama even said, I'm not a vegetarian. It's not in my philosophy. I'm not a vegetarian. For some time he was a vegetarian, then he stopped. Went back to meat. And so people have different ideas what it means to be merciful. Mercy, we recognize that all living entities have a right to life. So we should not kill. If we kill, then we lose the quality of mercy. Ahimsa is important. You may say, well, we are killing vegetables. And that is true. Even the vegetarian, you're doing some violence, you will get karma. Therefore, devotee does not just simply follow vegetarian diet. Devotee, we are offering our food to Krishna, and then we take food which is prasad. We're only eating the prasad of the Lord. We're not just simply vegetarian. We must also offer the food to the Lord, and then you can accept the prasad. Then there's no karma, because we offer the food to God. We recognize His proprietorship. So that is how we can show mercy. Must be like that. Take food which is offered to the Lord. So cleanliness, tapa, austerity. Austerity means to give up pride. People are often too proud. They don't have any humility. We have to develop humility. It's important to give up pride. Pride is a big problem. People are very proud. There's a saying, even the pauper is proud of his penny. A penny is a very small amount, you know. So a poor person, they have pride. So we have to be very careful, try to remove pride. But that is an austerity. And of course we avoid austerity by avoiding intoxication. No alcohol, no drugs. We don't even take Coca-Cola because there's caffeine. And we avoid also tea and coffee because they're caffeine-based and they're stimulants. People get addicted to these things. You know, many people can't get up in the morning without a cup of tea. You know, if you're on the train in India, you're on the train, you'll hear every morning, chai, chai, you know, and people open their, they want their cup of tea, they cannot get up without tea. So we don't want to get hooked, we don't want to get addicted to these things. We avoid intoxication. That's important for us. That is the tapa, avoiding these kind of things. It's an austerity, but it's very purifying to get rid of that attachment to these things. When we're purified, then we can experience real happiness. The happiness in your tea or in your cigarette or whatever, you know, you're getting your pleasure from, there's no real happiness there. The real happiness is in the soul. You have to awaken spiritual consciousness. Then you can experience real pleasure. So real pleasure is within. But you have to awaken it. We have to purify ourselves. We have to control the mind and the senses. And to control the mind and the senses, you have to have good intelligence. That buddhi, vaya vasayatmika buddhi ekeha puranandana. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, those who are on this path are resolute in determination and their aim is one. But those who are irresolute, bahusakahyanantascha buddhayo vayavasaina. Those who are on this path are irresolute, their intelligence is many-branched. So we want this ekeha kurunandana, one thought, focus on service to Krishna. Prabhupada got his inspiration to go to America from this sloka, from Vishwanath Chakravarti's purport on this verse, that you have to be very one-pointed and fixed in your determination. That kind of... Actually, next in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has been speaking about intelligence. The next verses will be about determination. that you have to have that determination to control, to use the intelligence. If you don't have that determination, that even though you know something, you won't do it. Just like we know we're supposed to chant Hare Krishna, we won't do it. We're not determined enough. Although we know it's right, it's a good thing, we don't do it. Why? Lazy, misguided, unlucky. This is Kali Yuga. We're victims of the Kali Yuga. We have to be very conscious, be very determined. Have that determination. It's very important to progress in spiritual life. You have to have that determination. When somebody comes to offer you some meat, fish and eggs, or some baked nice cream cake cooked with eggs, you say, no, no thank you. Right? We have some discrimination. What is proper food? What to eat, what not to eat. This is the lifestyle of the devotee. We cultivate that intelligence, and we have to have that determination as well, not only intelligence, but that strong determination to do what we're supposed to do for the service of Krishna. Alright, Hare Krishna. No question? Yes? Aradhika?
Maharaj, you said that you have to be austere from pride. How do we practice austerity from being proud in daily life?
How do we cultivate austerity when we're proud? How do we become humble? Well, by serving the devotees. You serve the Vaishnavas by offering obeisances to the devotees and by serving the Vaishnavas. It's very important. Service to the Vaishnavas is very powerful. You do service for and offer obeisances. You come to the temple program every day. You do all the bowing down. How many times we bow down every day in the morning program? You develop humility. You come to temple, take part in the program every day, you'll naturally become humble without even trying for it. You'll develop that humility just by taking part in the temple program, by doing sadhana bhakti. Because we come and we bow down, we offer obeisances, we bow to Tulsi, we do Tulsi puja, we bow to Prabhupada, we're going to bow to Panchatattva. Now it's time for Aarti. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.